So when I first got into collecting the M1 helmets, I think I was a little unrealistic. I thought, well, if I wanted a World War II representative helmet, M1 helmet, it had to have a World War II shell, it had to have the exact corresponding liner that it came with when it left the factory. And the same with Korea, the same with Vietnam. If I wanted a Vietnam helmet, my mindset was, well, the heat code on the shell needs to, if it's 1966, needs to correspond with a 1966 liner. Things had to be symmetrical, if you will. Everything had to match. And it didn't take long for me to realize that the whole beauty of collecting these M1 helmets is that it might not match. And it's very unusual that they match. And when I say they, I mean the helmet shell and the liner. They might be different. For instance, I bought this helmet sight unseen, no picture, off of a internet auction. I asked a couple questions. Is there a heat code on the shell? No. And it was billed as a Vietnam War helmet. Okay, so in my mind I'm thinking 1964 to probably 1974. Could be anywhere in there. There's no heat code visible, so I'm figuring at some point maybe a hobbyist took a rattle can and sprayed it green to make a reproduction or to cover up some rust or something like that. I didn't know, so I went into it blind. I bid on it. I think I was the only bidder. I got it home, and I was pretty shocked. It has this helmet. It's a Vietnam, by any just eyeball of it. It's a Vietnam War elastic around the shell. It's got a Vietnam War Mitchell camouflage liner, or not liner, Mitchell camouflage cloth cover over the shell. It looks Vietnam. It just, certain helmets, when you look at them, you say, oh, that's Vietnam. Another indication to me of an untouched Vietnam helmet was the fact that the camouflage cloth cover was like vacuum sucked onto the shell. Sometimes you see them, they're baggy. This thing was sucked on, like somebody sucked the air out and tattooed the cloth to the liner. So I got it home and I was psyched. I was like, all right, it's a Vietnam War helmet. Obviously the cover is Vietnam War. The band screams Vietnam War. And I looked in the inside and I said, okay, it's got a headband suspension that is dated 1973. I think the nape strap right here is 1973. So, okay, I got a 1973 vintage Vietnam War helmet. And I don't like taking the liner out because it sort of messes with how the cloth is sucked to the shell. But I lifted it up to see if I could find a heat code or a heat stamp indicating, a Vietnam War shell. They typically start with I for Ingersoll Rand. I didn't see anything, but it did look like it was repainted, but not like rattle can repainted, like somebody bought some green rattle can spray and painted it. The inside of the shell is almost, it almost looks like a brownish green porcelain. It looks professionally done. So I took the liner out and I was shocked. What I got was a front seam, fixed bail, World War II shell. Not only just any World War II shell. I took a look at the straps, the chin straps for the shell, and as you can tell, They're the early brass. This clip right here is generally considered 1941 to mid to late 1942 vintage. So I'm thinking what I got here is a 1941-1942 shell that was kept in government hands all through World War II, probably Korea, passed down to a soldier in Vietnam. And over time, you know, the inner linings get disgusting. It probably went to an armory. The government took out the shell, or took out the liner, threw it away, put another liner in, took it out, put another liner in, and I ended up with a 1973 liner in a World War II, early World War II shell. So obviously it doesn't match. If you're looking for perfection when you're collecting the M1 helmets, you're going to be disappointed, because there's no telling how these pieces of equipment got mixed and matched over the years. One of the things I look for is the heat codes. Didn't find it on this one, disappointed. But the way it was repainted, probably in an arsenal. There's a rip in the camouflage cover. You can see that it's not rust, but it's some kind of an enameled, brownish, very swampy brown. And this is what the inside of the shell looks like. And again, it's not rust. I haven't touched it. Usually if I see rust, I'm not going to lie, I'll throw some Ballistol on it with some brass wool, and I'll lightly scour it just to get the rust off. Haven't touched this, obviously. And that's what the inside looks like, is what the outside looks like. And it's just been recycled from war to war to war. And here we are, 80 years later, and it's still looking fine. Just the whole design of these M1 helmets is gorgeous, and I do hope they bring them back. But what a surprise to get an early World War II shell paired with a Vietnam liner. And like I said, it was billed as a Vietnam helmet, which it really isn't. So that's the helmet part of this video. And I'm in love with this, and obviously if things could talk, I'd love to hear the story that this helmet had. Now I'm going to get into something different. I bought a knife, brought it home today actually, and it's a Blind Horse. I think it's like a 2.5-inch blade. It's got some rust. You can see, I'll get a close-up here of the blade. It's got some light oxidation. You can see some brown spots, if you will. And I'm not gonna lie, oxidation, it's like a fancy word for rust. So I don't like that, obviously. And I don't like taking off patina either. For me, it's all about patina, patina, patina. It's got to have the patina. It's got to be real. And I would never mess with that, whether it be a helmet, a bayonet, or a knife. I'm never going to mess with the patina. I called up the manufacturer of this knife and I said, hey, if I take some oil to it and some brass wool, will I do any damage? i.e., is there a coating on the steel that I'm going to take off? They said, they got back to me within like 6 hours. They said, no, it should be fine. Just go with the grain. And the grain is going this way of the metal. I said, all right. So what I did today is I broke out some Kroil, and I typically use Kroil when I do these things. I use Kroil or I use Ballistol. I love both of them. And I bought these little dispensers on Amazon, and I squirted it about 2 hours ago, one side of this knife with Kroil. And now I'm going to take some brass wool. Let me just get it keep rolling. I'm going to get some from the other room, because I forgot it. I forgot the brass wool, and I have it right here. So I have some brass wool, and what I'm going to do is, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I wanted to do it on camera. So what I'm trying to do is get these light, or these dark spots of oxidation gone. I'm going to go with the grain, and we'll see if it comes off. I just do it lightly because I don't want to scratch the metal. And if it comes off, then it's going to come off. If it doesn't come off, then you know what? It wasn't meant to be, and it's something that isn't going to come off anyway. So there were definitely some spots of oxidation or rust, and rust is never good. So I'm going to put a little more elbow grease into this, and I'm going to take it off a little bit. It's not perfect, but I'm going to rub a little more. I'm going to take some Kroil. I'm just going to rub a little more Kroil into this blade. Again, going with the grain. I don't think I would get any better result or any different result if I used steel wool. And I'm always a little apprehensive to use steel wool because even using a very, very, very fine steel wool, I have experienced some streaking, if you will. Like I've made marks in the metal, scratches. That's the word I'm thinking of, scratches. So here we go. I think this is about as good as I'm going to get. And quite frankly, if it's still there, then I don't think it was oxidation, because this typically takes it off. And the reason I use brass wool is because on information and belief, brass is softer than steel. So that is going to be my rationale. So let's see. Does it look different? Let's be the judge here. I still see some shadows, if you will, of the oxidation, but I don't think I'm going to lose sleep over it, because quite frankly, and they're not pits. I'm running my finger over it and it's smooth as hell. So I think I'm as good as I'm going to get with regards to this. And keep in mind, I would never, ever take a Dremel to anything metal. A, because I'm not skilled enough to mess with a Dremel. And B, I don't want to take off product. I don't want to take off steel and alter the item. I don't think that taking rust off alters an item. That's just my opinion. I don't think rust adds anything to a piece. And I've never had an issue with the brass messing with the patina, the brass wool messing with the patina. And I think that's as good as I'm going to get. I don't think I did any damage. I think the blade looks fine. If anything, I probably cleaned it up a bit, but whatever was there to start with is either gone or still there. So that's the best I'm going to get. I'm going to do the other side. I'll work on this a little more. I'll, do another video if I make some substantial progress, but if not, then that's the best it's going to get. Either way, it was a great deal and on a beautiful knife, and I'm gonna use it and have fun with it. Again, thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, just write me, subscribe, because I would appreciate it, or hit the like button. And that's it. Until next time, I'm going to New York next short term, and I'll probably do a video of, doesn't have to be with regards to knives or helmets, but I'll do a video of something interesting. I have no doubt. Again, take care, peace, and until next time, bye-bye.